This is Access Ann Arbor.
Good evening. My name is James Corey. I am a Rotarian here in Ann Arbor and a member of the Ann Arbor Rotary Club. And I'm here today to talk about the U of M Rotaract and the Ann Arbor Community Rotaract and basically highlight the incredible things that these clubs are doing, some of the amazing work, and we get a chance to meet three incredible members. It'd be wonderful if you go through, introduce yourself, sort of what year you are at the University of Michigan and what you're studying.
My name is Catherine Sobelak. I'm a junior at the University of Michigan, and I'm studying economics.
My name is Erin Wright. I'm a sophomore and I'm studying neuroscience.
And my name is Madhav. I'm a junior here at the University of Michigan and I'm studying computer engineering.
And all three of these students are a little crazy because they're taking a full course load. They're at one of the most prestigious universities in the country and they're spending their time volunteering instead of going to parties like they should be. And what we're hoping this evening is to figure out what you can do to maybe, if you're interested in learning more, and some of the incredible projects and different trips they have planned. Why did you get involved with Rotaract at the University of Michigan?
I got involved in Rotaract because I wanted to do something with community service that I knew, and in my hometown Rotary Club gave me a scholarship and gave me their Student of the Month award. So I had heard of Rotary, was familiar with it, knew that it was very prestigious, and it just seemed natural to go to Rotaract.
Fantastic. And Erin, you're a sophomore, so you were silly enough as a freshman to get involved in a community service club. Why did you get involved as a freshman?
Well, earlier in the summer, I had done a little bit of traveling and I was walking around at Festival and someone was just saying, we're going to El Salvador. And I was like, ooh, that sounds great. So it caught my attention, decided to go check it out. I ended up going to El Salvador and just really falling in love with the club. So,
as a computer science major, let's be honest, that's a pretty easy major. Sounds like cake to me. There's not a lot of work, so I understand why you had time to get involved.
Of course, yeah.
But did you go to El Salvador, and what did you do there? What was the purpose of the trip?
So I did go to El Salvador, and the purpose of the trip was we went there with the intention of beautifying the school, really kind of improving the foundation and giving more opportunities for the kids to kind of grow and explore. So before we went there, the classrooms were really dirty. They didn't have, the walls weren't very nice. They didn't really have a designated area to kind of play and, I guess, have fun. These are, by the way, elementary school kids from 4 years of age to 10 or 11. And so when we went there after the 3 or 4 days, we ended up adding a garden to the place. We added a whole science room with microscopes, a full lab, basically, where we really basically added a new subject where they could learn new information. And leaving from that school, I think did a great job, and we learned a lot, and we hopefully helped the city of Otago improve a lot.
How many Rotaracts sort of went on the trip, and what was your experience? What was the one thing, if you take away from El Salvador, that you didn't know that you came away with as something that you're really proud that you know about now?
There were 15 U of M Rotaractors that went on the trip. Then we had worked together all year last year to prepare for this 1 week for our spring break trip. And the one takeaway that I will always remember is just the impact that we made on the community and how welcoming they were to us. They were so grateful for us to be there, and they went above and beyond to make sure that we were comfortable.
So during your college spring break, you volunteered, went to El Salvador without any partying, and helped out at a school. Erin, what's the cost associated with it? Do you do fundraising to help support these trips? How do you get involved in these types of things?
Well, we actually depend a lot on the Ann Arbor Rotary for a lot of the fundraising. I believe they, with a grant that we applied for, they supplied most of the science equipment, I think almost all of it, that we were able to donate. We do finance our own costs down there, so we try and fundraise by ourselves through we went to Cedar Point. We volunteered for a weekend working rides, and we also do like pop can drives and restaurant fundraisers. But we ultimately, pay for.
So you scrap. You get any money
yes,
you can find.
Basically.
You scrounge. You go through, and you're not done now. So this year you'll go on another trip. Tell us about the trip for this year. Tell us where you're going. and how we can maybe potentially help and get involved.
So this year we're going to Nicaragua, and we're choosing a city whose schools, once again, we're helping another school system, and these schools don't really have any roofs on them. So we're going for a week and adding roofing to all these schools.
Roofs are really overrated. Let's do it. Roofing for schooling, that seems tough. No, tell us seriously about it.
So I think actually how we're doing the roofing is we're doing corrugated sheets of aluminum and putting it on these roofs so that better protection from all the weather, rain, and at least you have a shelter when you're studying. So.
Do you have the skills? I mean, are all of you natural builders? Are these things you thought you would be doing? I mean, I know from the majors you just listed, it didn't seem like a ton of construction experience. How do you feel when you're doing these projects? Do you have people that can help you and sort of guide you through it?
For this one, we will not actually be doing any of the actual. They don't trust us that much. They're afraid we're going to sue for potential damages. But we're actually we're financing for all of the materials for the roofing, and also with the nonprofit we're working with, they'll have skilled electricians and construction workers who will actually be doing the physical labor. So it will be done correctly.
Do you think it will be the same size trip? You think you'll have around 15, maybe 20 different U of M Rotaractors going down this year?
Yeah. And I think a great thing we did was every year we have a couple of people who were from the last trip come again in the next year's trip. And so it really helps to bring the same kind of passion every year. And it really helps, the expectations are always the same. We always keep high expectations, and we always ensures a really great time as well.
That's fantastic. So now that you're addicted to Rotary in college, do you think that it's something that you would encourage us, if you saw a freshman and they were interested in learning more, what's sort of the spiel to give them to say, come look at our club, come check this out, this is something that's worthwhile?
Yeah, absolutely. At the beginning of this year, I definitely hardcore recruited for Rotaract. I told all my new friends and all the freshmen coming in, you have to check out this club. I just tell them that we do a lot of service, we put in a lot of hours, but the community that we have, it's completely worth it, and you really enjoy it and get a lot out, even though you are putting a lot in as well.
And you do different galas that go on that benefit, and those are kind of fun. Can you tell us sort of about last year's gala, what was going on, what the theme was, and basically what the night's about?
Yeah, so last year we had a charity ball with a theme Casino Royale to fundraise for our international trip to El Salvador. So it was people had to buy a ticket to come, and then they got all dressed up. We had poker tables, a DJ, dance floor, refreshments, just to have a fun night, but it was ultimately for the kids in El Taco in El Salvador.
Fantastic. So in between Rotary and all of your fun studies, what are the best things to do if you're a freshman at the university to get involved, if you're just interested in learning? Like, can you go to a meeting? Can you just go to a Rotary lunch? How do you learn more if you've seen this and you're so inspired and you want to learn more? What's the best way for you to learn more?
The best way is to come out to our mass meeting. We have one at the beginning of the fall term and winter term. Just to come out, hear our spiel from the e-board, and really just ask questions. It really helps for people to come that are interested and have specific questions if they do want to go on the trip, or if they want to help out with local community service, which we also work on as well. So yeah, just coming out to our meeting.
Erin, what's some of the local community service stuff that you're doing? What are some of the projects you've been involved with in the local community?
We do a lot of beautification services. I think it's in 2 weeks we're going to Belle Isle to help cut down invasive species there. We've been doing that for we've done a couple of trips there. We do also beautification in local parks around here. We go to Gleaners, just work a lot of different work in the Ann Arbor community. I know last year they even volunteered at the Hands-On Science Museum, so lots of really just fun ways to get involved, and you don't even know you're really doing service.
So when you've sort of naturally been serviced, you talked about this morning you were volunteering at Arbor Hospice earlier before we came on, and you were watching the news by yourself, which was great. Yeah. But you're so involved in service. How did you get addicted, and what do you gain out of doing all this service?
I actually really became addicted because I went to a leadership camp when I was a sophomore in high school, and they were like, if you do 100 hours, you get recognized. And I was like, oh, 100 hours, that's a lot. But I started doing it, and I really you find, I think, a little bit of self-worth in that, because you just feel great about yourself when you come out of, doing, it's like, I just helped someone. I didn't have to, but I did. And, it's a great way to spend your time rather than sitting on Facebook or the internet doing mindless things. I think it's a great use of time. So.
Right, computer programming, mindless, different areas. Are there skills that you think you'll get out of being part of U of M Rotaract that you wouldn't be able to get out of just your regular classes and some of the other areas?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I think coming to college, yeah, you're learning about your major, but one other thing is also developing connections with different people, learning how to talk to different people, we have a section in Rotaract called professional development, and so that really helps us prepare for interviews, prepare for talking to companies, and there's a lot of different aspects of Rotaract. And I think the most important thing is you're not just improving one part of yourself, you're improving your whole representation, and so anything you do in Rotaract, you're always going to come out better in the end.
So what are your plans after? Do you think you'll try to go into a Rotary club? Do you think it's something that will always be a part? You can be honest and be like, no, this is it. I'm done as soon as I'm back from my trip. And what are your career goals? What are your individual aspirations?
Yeah, I definitely would love to stay involved with Rotaract, anything that I possibly can. I just went to the Rotary luncheon yesterday, and I was just sitting there thinking, I can't wait. I know that this is something that'll be a constant in my life. It really makes me feel good about myself. I love doing this service, and so I definitely want to stay involved as much as possible. But my professional aspirations are to go into urban planning and be a city developer consultant for a city.
Fantastic. Erin?
Yeah, I want to go to be a physician's assistant, so eventually, hopefully, if they accept me. I know that I also do really want to stay connected with the Rotary because I've just had such an amazing experience thus far. I can't imagine how I wouldn't want to continue with that. So.
For me, I think, so my freshman year actually, I was only a part of Rotaract since my sophomore year. And one thing I was always missing in my freshman year was wanting to kind of volunteer my time. I did a lot of service work in high school, and so I didn't realize how much I missed it until I came here and it was like, there's something that I'm not doing with my time that I feel like I should be doing. And so, sophomore year, now junior year, being a part of Rotaract, that's really kind of filled that hole. And so I definitely want to be a part of Rotaract once I come outside of college. Immediately, hopefully, I want to volunteer my time 2 years after, whether it be for like Amnesty International or something of the sort like that. And after that, I kind of want to go pursue my career further in computer engineering and hopefully work up to be a project manager.
So the university is huge. They have 99 programs that are in the top 10. They have over 43,000 students at the university. How is it adjusting your freshman year? And how important, not just the Rotaract Club, how important is it as a student to get involved in any club or any organization? Does it make it smaller? Does it make it much more easy to navigate? What was your experience in that?
Yeah, it's hard. When you come and you get dropped off in Ann Arbor, it's a bit overwhelming, honestly. It's very scary, but you have to get involved. That's the only way to meet people and get to know people on a personal basis. Even though there are over 40,000 students on campus, I walk around every day and I run into people from Rotaract that I know. I see these people on a daily basis, whether I mean to or not. We just run into each other. It really makes the huge campus smaller.
Erin, what was your experience as a freshman getting dropped off? Was it sort of overwhelming, and is that how you got sort of hooked into the club?
Mm-hmm. It definitely was. I would have to say this year, now knowing people, I probably still hang out with my Rotaract friends more than other people.
And your Rotaract best friend who's sitting next to you.
Yep, my Rotaract best friend. Yeah, we went on the trip together and we just came back and inseparable. So
that's what El Salvador will do for you.
Will.
No, yeah.
And as a freshman experience, what was your experience like?
My freshman experience was actually really great. I enjoyed it a lot. However, I still felt that going to being a part of Rotaract, like I guess these guys said, I definitely end up hanging out with those people a lot more. I think it's just the diversity of the people that are a part of Rotaract, plus the actual experience of doing service work with someone on Saturday mornings and Sunday mornings, or being a part of professional development, or going on the trip. These are kind of experiences that you share with people that really kind of make you closer together, and they're bonds that are going to form, which you're going to take outside of college, and hopefully we're going to keep them all.
Well, and on a serious note, we just want to, as a Rotarian, it's amazing to see the future is so bright. It's amazing to see such incredibly, conscientious, intelligent, and talented people that are willing to give their time and take away from a few parties, take away from a few other social events to help people that you might never meet. They do, fundraisers left and right, and they'll do everything to help people that they'll probably never meet, but These are luckily our leaders. They are our best, and we're so thankful that you were here tonight.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for having us.
Are we good? Hi, this is James Corey again. Good evening. I'm now here with the Ann Arbor Community Rotaract, and I kept one U of M'er because I'm such a die-hard Go Blue. I just wouldn't let him go. We're going to hear about some of his aspirations for after work and some of the international service. But the first people I want to talk to are the two co-founders of the Community Ann Arbor Rotaract, which is something incredible. It's a group in town for younger professionals that really want to get involved, that quite, they don't necessarily want to have unsalted soup every week and different food. They were more interested in getting right into community service, but they couldn't necessarily go it. And so would you please introduce yourselves and tell everyone what you do?
Sure. So I'm Adrienne Escamilla. I am co-founded Ann Arbor Rotaract, and I work at the University of Michigan.
That's fantastic. Go Blue.
And my name is Obi Nwanchukwu, and I work for a home care company. We do home care company. We're a home care company that also does assisted living, and I'm also one of the co-founders as well. Michigan graduate.
And you've met our famous computer science major, but do you want to reintroduce yourself?
Yeah, of course. My name is Madhav, and I'm a computer engineering major, and this is my junior year at the University of Michigan.
Go Blue. So we're here with the Community Rotaract first, and you both co-founded this group. So you're in your young mid-20s, we're going to say young mid-20s, and why would you go out and form a community group? What was sort of the passion, the driving force behind getting this group going?
Well, for me personally, I had heard of Rotary before. I received a Rotary scholarship upon going to college, and that was kind of the last interaction with Rotary that I had for a long time until I was a young working professional, and I was just looking for something with a little bit more meaning, and trying to find some way to spend my time that was worthwhile. And so a colleague of mine who is a Rotarian mentioned that there is a service organization called Rotaract, and he asked if I would be interested in founding a community club. And so that kind of really got the ball rolling for me. I reached out to some friends and introduced them to the idea and to the concept, and that was it.
Obi, what was sort of the driving force for you?
Well, I had never heard of Rotary at that point, and Adrian here was pretty vocal about it, and was able to hear about some of the things that Rotary does, and I was just very interested though to see how community organizations like this can be built and what the basis for people, bringing large groups of people together to do something positive. I think it's a valuable skill set to be able to build, and I wanted to see how it would work. So.
Well, and how do Rotaracts, even the U of M Rotaract, how do they differ from other networking groups? I mean, my big fear when I go to a networking group is I'm going to be sold life insurance 15 times. I'm only going to be hit on by the really unattractive people, and I'm not going to actually get any good friends. How does this group differ than the other young professional groups, and how does the U of M Rotaract Club differ from the networking groups?
I think that there's an idea of putting others' interest before your own. So I think, while we do have an aspect of networking to our organization, it's really about what you have to offer versus what you're going to get back, which, I mean, you do receive a lot in return, but it's not the driving factor.
Yeah, I would basically say the same thing. I mean, service before self is the motto for Rotary as well as Rotaract, and you go to a lot of different networking groups for young professionals, and it's basically just networking, and it's not, you don't have that cohesiveness because there's not something that's bringing people back, week after week, that, something that drives them and makes them want to be a part of it. So,
how does it differ from the U of M networking groups?
I think it's a lot of the things what they have already mentioned. One big thing is it's not just, you go to an event and networking event and you might not come back or you might not gain anything, but the people who go to a Rotaract every meeting, they're always going for something bigger. They're always going there for like a bigger end goal. And I think everyone comes into Rotaract just really honest with why they're here, and they always want to be here just because they service above self. They want to give their time and help the community around them.
That's fantastic. And the community Rotaract has done a lot already. Would you discuss some of the things you already have done in the community and some of the things you're hoping to do going forward?
Sure. Well, our current larger project is a partnership with other community organizations. It's called Career Connections, and it's a partnership between Ozone House, Food Gatherers, Community Action Network, Michigan Works, and I'm missing
Office
one.
of Community and Economic Development.
Yes, thank you. And so it's a partnership to help youth who come from underprivileged backgrounds and introduce them into the work environment, give them networking opportunities, help them get connected with resources that they may not have. We help them with resume workshops, we help them with mentoring. We kind of introduce them to our organizations and we'll invite them to meetings or make them honorary members. So really it's just trying to kind of promote that enrichment and that learning early on because these youths are probably anywhere from 16 to 20. So it would be great to help launch them early on and then get them involved and help them see how important the community aspect or community service aspect is, and that they can really have an impact on their surrounding environment.
Are there other projects that you're hoping long term, or what are some of the projects you've done in the past, or some of the volunteer work that the group has done in the past?
Volunteer work we've done has been pretty varied. I mean, we just recently helped out at the Ronald McDonald House. It's a lot of different projects. There's local tree plantings that we do in cooperation with the Ann Arbor Rotary as well, and we actually are looking to do an international project with a group of Ghanaian Rotaractors as well, because Rotary as well as Rotaract is an international organization, and we have a sister club that's in Ghana. So we're looking into, there's a medical center that the U of M actually owns, which is out there. So we're looking on to see what we can do in partnership with that club to work on the medical center over there. So
that's fantastic.
A lot of things coming.
You talked previously about some of your aspirations after school to do some international service and some interesting things. Has your experience in Rotaract really spawned that, or was that something that's always been going on? And what specifically would you really like to do if you could get any position after you graduate internationally? What would you hope to do?
I think, going and being a part of Rotaract's international service trip definitely kind of strengthened my desire for doing something along the similar lines after leaving college. One of the main reasons, though, is listening to actually J.K. Rowling's Harvard commencement speech. She talked about her time while she was at the, forget the name of it,
Peace Corps, Amnesty International.
Amnesty International, that's
Fantastic.
what it was. While she was spending her time there, and you really learn just so much about the world, and sometimes being a part of, just growing up, I've been in Michigan my whole life, you kind of live in that closed bubble, and so I think for me personally, one of the things I want to do before I kind of go into the real world is kind of have my perspective widened, and so I can just kind of be better prepared and also kind of give my, service for another couple of years before I go into the real world.
Well, and you'll see there are people in the real world working still,
Yeah.
young professionals that are finding incredible time doing amazing service. Yesterday we celebrated the 60th anniversary of the Salk polio vaccine, which was developed here at the University of Michigan, and Rotary has obviously been huge in fighting, trying to eradicate polio. We're getting close and still have the work. If you could do any, Rotary project in the future or get involved in any way in Rotary, what are you hoping that you'll get out of the club, or what projects are you really thinking that you'd like to personally be involved in?
I mean, I think that I would like to do something with an international service project. I think that part of the reason I really love Rotaract is getting outside of your bubble, like you said, and learning and meeting different cultures, and just having a larger scope on, the world. So anything international would be really at the top of my list.
There's a wide range. We go over to Canada and hang out. That'd be pretty fun. Or, Ghana's a little different in different areas. The Ann Arbor Rotary Club does around 8 international projects between every few years. Is there ways going forward that the different clubs could partner, and would there be value in some of the partnering with the bigger Ann Arbor Rotary Club and some of the community Rotaracts or the U of M Rotaracts?
We've been talking about that for the last year or two, actually. I've spoke with some people about that, and that's definitely something that we're looking forward to. It's somewhat different with us as opposed to the U of M Rotaract, because our schedules aren't quite the...
You don't have spring break?
So we can't always make things work the way that we'd want to, but yeah. So we're still a little lower there, down there in age, so it's a little bit easier. So we'll try to make some things work, though, especially with our sister club in Ghana, to start with, internationally speaking at least.
Fantastic.
But we do manage to stay connected with the larger Ann Arbor Rotary Club. Just in, if we can't attend as a group, we'll attend some of Rotarian meetings. Or also we host an annual wine social, just to kind of promote awareness for our club, and also to kind of celebrate what we've done as an organization across the year. So that's something that we invite Rotarians to as well, and just keep that networking.
What's amazing is the Rotaract clubs are incredibly charitable. They also do some fundraising in the area. They had these incredible pumpkins that were carved just for Halloween. They raise money for different organizations across the community. These are people who are doing it still with college loans, still with trying to figure out how to save for a home, still trying to figure out their own young professional, and to have people in our community that are out willing to give up their time, to give up their resources, and put so much energy into it is a really inspiring thing for a mid-level 34-year-old man. It's inspiring to see that the future is bright. What do you hope how can you get involved in the community Rotaract? What are ways to learn more if you saw this and were really inspired?
Yeah. Well, anyone is welcome to join our club. We meet bi-weeklies on Tuesdays at 7 o'clock, and
where do you meet?
We meet at the Bank of Ann Arbor on Plymouth Road in their community room. And so anyone's welcome to join us. We have an email list. Then you can visit our website at www.a2rotaract.org. But yeah, if you're curious, just feel free to stop in.
So we're going to put both links for the U of M Rotaract and for the Community Rotaract on our Ann Arbor Rotary website. And if you type in Ann Arbor Rotary in Google, it comes up to our website, because we're dominating the space and we're not giving it up. And you can definitely find out more. But what's always incredible to me is the number of projects that are going on, all the different groups. We have Strive committees, and I know this year the U of M Rotaract is actually going to be getting involved. The mentoring, the giving the time, the beautification, the international, the local projects just seem to have no end. And if there's one thing that you can hope for the teenagers that might have stumbled on this by accident and are still watching, what thing are you hoping that they'll gain, and how would you recruit them to get involved in a Rotary?
Well, I would just say that once they get to that age, once they get to that point in their life, then I think they could look around and see that doing this is not just something that benefits the community. It's not just something that benefits yourself. It's something that brings the two together, really. So it really is a positive thing. And if they do it, if they just give it a try, then they'll be much better off for it, and they won't want to stop.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, I thank you so much for taking the time. I know this is exactly what you want to do on a Thursday night. You know, but we appreciate all the energy, all the effort. We will recruit you to the older club. It will help bring down the age medium greatly. And we thank you so much for all that you do for our community. And you are exhibiting service above self as well as anyone around. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.